Hello, my name is Chuck Nickles. I'm the Chief Designer for Wessex Tubas. Today, we're going to be talking about diagnosing problems with your piston valves. The worst thing that could ever happen to a brass player is sticking valves. It can ruin a solo, ruin a performance in no time at all. We're going to talk today about some of the things that could be causing that issue. One of the first things I look for when I'm diagnosing a valve problem is the valve guide itself. Most valve guides are made of nylon or some kind of other plastic material. When you reinsert the valve into the casing, if you miss that guide slot, it's very easy to damage the bottom of this valve guide, creating a burr. That burr sticks out farther than the guide is supposed to and can cause your valve to stick there. That's a very easy problem to fix. Take a small file and just file away that burr until that is smooth with the rest of the valve guide. If you don't have some fancy metal file, you can get away with something like a nail file. Nylon's a pretty easy material to work with, so you won't have a problem there. The next issue that I would look for, mechanically speaking, is the valve stem itself. Many times when people put these into their cases or gig bags, we're a little rougher with them than we need to be. If this valve stem bends at all, it can actually rub on the casing here or force the valve to go down at an angle. Just look into the spot here where the stem comes out of the valve cap. If you see there's a much bigger gap on one side than the other, chances are your stem is bent. You can try to bend this back yourself, or if you don't feel comfortable with this, I would take it to a repair shop near you. They could fix this in under 5 minutes. One of the biggest issues I see with sticking valves comes down to a lack of maintenance. I would say in my own repair shop, 80 to 90% of what I see coming in for sticking valves is a cleanliness issue. You have two problems that you're going to see with cleanliness of a valve. First off is the wet organic matter, as I'll put it. This is the stuff that comes out of your mouth when you play if you maybe were eating some bratwurst before you were playing your solo. This will get onto the valve and will slow down your valve very quickly. The other issue that you'll find is a lime buildup, especially when the valve gets dry. You'll see this green lime film on your valve there. If you're starting to see this, that means it's time for a chem clean for your instrument. Many people have a different thought about how often you should get your horn cleaned. The standard that people say is 1 year to maybe 2 years. If you play your instrument more than 2 times a week, I would recommend getting your horn cleaned every 6 months. You wouldn't go a year or 2 years without changing the oil in your car, so why would you go that long with your instrument? This is the thing that brings you a lot of joy, and for a lot of people, their income. Take good care of it. Every 6 months, I get my instruments cleaned. Full chem clean. That means taking all the parts out, taking it to a professional and having them clean it for you. When it comes to valve oil for your valves, there are also a lot of different thoughts on how to approach this. Many people like to use the lightest oil possible as it makes the valves move faster. From a mechanical side, I don't like to do this. Thin valve oil tends to dry out faster, and dry valves will damage the casings on your instrument, shortening the lifespan of it pretty substantially. Instead, what I like to do is find the thickest oil that I can that does not slow down the action of the valve. The brand that we use is called Resilient Oils. I found that this works really well on all of our instruments, and this is what I use in my personal shop. I like to use the number 2 or even the number 3 if I feel like I can get away with it with my valves. Very rarely do I recommend the number 1 oil unless your valves are a little extra tight than you think they would be. To maintain the rudder cap, I like to put some tuning slide grease into the threads. Many people don't lubricate the threads or put anything on there at all. The problem I have with this is that there's friction every time you use the item. If there's no lubrication, they will wear against each other, and over time, your threads will wear down. What I do is take a little dab of slide grease, and I work it into the cap itself. Spread it around in a couple different spots. Then, just insert your valve. And work the threads as normal. This will spread the grease all around you'll have much longer lasting threads on your instrument. Putting on and taking off your valve cap is something that everyone doesn't really think about. With most threaded items, you just turn to the left to take it off, which is very simple. Putting the valve cap back on can sometimes be a little bit more of a challenge. So when I'm putting the threads back on, I turn to the left until you hear a little click. Once you've done that, the threads have fallen into place and you'll be able to turn easily. This is the safest way to put your valve caps back on. If you don't do this, most of the time you could put your valve cap back on, but you run the chance of cross-threading. That's where the threads are not in line with each other and they damage each other. This can ruin the threads on your instrument and be very, very expensive to repair. So I avoid this with all instruments that I play by turning the cap to the left first until you hear that click. You might not be a very loud click. Sometimes you'll feel the click more in your hand than hear it. Once I've got that, turn it to the right till the valve's shut. You'll know it's shut all the way because the metal won't clack. If I take a valve and it's not tightened all the way, you'll hear that metal clanking there. It's a little bit louder than the other valves. You hear that metal clanking there, and the more it's loose, usually the worse it is. If you hear that, just tighten your valve a little bit more. Sometimes we don't always tighten it all the way to the end. Then that goes away. I hope this video was informative to you. If you're having any issues with your valve, feel free to email us and we'll try to help you out and get you back into playing shape.